Today's Wednesday, December 6th, 2017, and it is another edition of the Elevator Radio Show.
You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show, a weekly program dedicated to covering news and information on elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. Produced in the wee hours of the morning, a new show is uploaded every Wednesday, sometimes even before you get out of bed. Listen to some of the comments sent in from our audience.
Rob from New York writes, Tom, are you f***ing insane? You actually get up at 2 a.m. each Wednesday to put this show out? Man, you must love elevators. Tim from Illinois writes, I'm not sure why I listened, but ever since I tuned into the first show back in 2007, I've been addicted. Matt in Texas writes, I like your safety messages, Tom. It's important to remember them each and every day. And he also adds, when am I going to win the monthly prize pack giveaway? Ron from California sent this in. Despite your inability to pronounce words in the English language, I tune in each week and am glad that you offer this service to the industry. It's better than Google News alerts. Sarah from Washington writes, love the show, Tom, and look forward to it each week. I'm glad I signed up for the newsletter. You provide a valuable resource for the industry, not only for North America, but worldwide.
Enjoy the show. And now, here's your sleep-deprived host, Tom Seibert.
Good morning, everyone. Good to be here. Yes, it is good to be here. Holy moly. I was just looking at the calendar, and can you believe it? I know it's December 6th, but in my mind, that is a long way away from Christmas, but it's not. It's only like 2.5 weeks, which in shopping days, that's not a lot of time. So I really hope everybody gets a chance to spend time with their family this holiday season. Don't think about it just as being the gifts, and try not to stress out if you can. I want to believe that probably Christmas is probably one of those seasons that causes heart attacks, I would think, not only because of the snow, but for other stressful reasons than that. So take a moment to take a breath, relax, realize that it's some of these pressures that are out there we put on ourselves, and we can change that. We have the ability to change that, each one of us. So do your part to do that. So, but yeah, it was actually, we had a beautiful weekend here in the Midwest. It's about 50, 60 degrees in Chicago. It was awesome. I mean, it was literally like springtime, and we waited for the other shoe to drop, which occurred on Monday. Maybe Tuesday, actually. It was probably yesterday, but it's cold. But yeah, winter's here. We just got to hunker down and deal with it one way or another. So if you're listening to the show on the podcast on the iTunes Network or Blueberry Channel or Roku or whatnot, welcome to the show. We welcome you to each week here during as long as I'm alive. If you're watching the YouTube or video feed, you'll notice that I'm dressed up in some fancy duds. I have, unfortunately, a wake to go to this morning, and then also I'll get out of those, get into my work clothes, my dirty clothes for the day here at work, and then get back into these nice clothes and head to the Chicago Elevator Association, where I'm looking forward to seeing many people who have come in who are from the area, and some of whom I don't get a chance to see but once a year. So regarding the wake, I just want to touch on something really quick, because I don't have a ton of show notes to get through, but something really important that I realized last Wednesday when having, actually Thursday when having lunch with a friend whose mom is 91 years old, and I've only met her once. My wife and I met her once at a dinner party probably 6 years ago, and she asked my friend, are you going out with the young Tom or the old Tom? And Julian said he's going out with the young Tom, and she said, I really like them because when we were with them that night, Tiffany, my wife, and Tom truly took care and took a moment to be interested in her and her life. She grew up in Great Britain, in the UK during World War II, in that era, and I think so many young people. I don't want to just stereotype them, because I was a young person once, and I thought old people were not worthy of my time. But as I've grown older, I can't tell you how much I enjoy being with older people, no matter what their ages are, and the experiences and the stories that they have to share. I continue to learn from these people, and it is sad that more and more of them are no longer in my life. So try to pass that message on to our youngins. If you've got kids, make sure they understand that their grandma, their grandpa, their aunt, their uncle that might be 70 or 80 or 90 has a wealth of information and world experience to learn from, and that being interested in those people is important. It's not only important to them, but it also helps us, I think, as a people, as a human race, get a better understanding of where we're going based on learning from the past, what our future will be. I know it's a huge concept to even comprehend, and I don't even believe that I somewhat conveyed that properly. So, but anyway, so that's I'm not going to talk any more about that. But yeah, so waking this morning, and just important that we recognize our elderly population and what they've contributed, and learn from them, whether they're in their industry or they're not. It's to me, it's fascinating. So let's care for our elderly population as if they were little babies, not as if we have to feed them or whatnot, but you get the idea. So anyway, we're going to get into the show notes, and we will have you out in about a half an hour, cutting that down in no time. So enjoy, and if you have any comments, questions, send them to elevatorradioshow@gmail.com, and I will get back to them and you as quickly as I possibly can. Show notes are up next.
Let this week's news stories give you a lift on what's happening in the vertical transportation arena. Each news segment is organically dug and fresh with news stories of the week. Got lift? If not, stay tuned.
All right, before I get into the show notes, just want to make a quick notice for those, and this kind of ties into the Boston article. The Mesa, Massachusetts Elevator Safety Association, there I got it right, their holiday party is next week on the 12th, December 12th. And this week and next week are pretty much those weeks that are packed with holiday parties. So no matter what, make sure you remember to not drink and drive. Uber's out there, put it on your phone. Just make sure you're not in a situation where you could do that. Okay, first article of the program. Boston Globe has an article, kind of nice. Always neat to see our our own industry personnel in the news and in a positive light. Longtime elevator salesman is still up to the challenge. And this article talking about Greg Lofsweiler. I know I did not do that right. From Stanley Elevator, and Stanley Elevator has been a company that's been around for a long time. If you read the article, just kind of need to see, a good pro piece on elevators and some information on it. So it's kind of neat. Nice little history piece. And again, nice to see someone like our elderly. I don't think 59 is elderly. I don't think 59 is old. I don't necessarily think 91 is old. I think probably 113 is old. Not that we're all going to live to that age, but you're only as old as you feel, so remember that. Okay, next news article. This one kind of bothered me, coming from the NewYorkPost.com. Shoes devour escalator is a he wears worst nightmare. Take a look at this photo. It's on an escalator that looks as if it's a very small escalator. But however this woman was riding the escalator, it was totally incorrect, I would have to say, based on the angle of these heels going into the comb teeth at the top of the escalator. And I wouldn't doubt that the heels are very fine and very small as well. But how in the world is a woman like this not able to move her feet at the end of an escalator, run? It looks really so staged, almost like an art piece. And you don't see stuff like this every day. You see other stuff probably worse than this every day, and just one of those deals where it's easy enough to look on Google for escalator images and see a variety of stuff that is not pretty at all. Okay, Carlsbad Caverns elevator work in New Mexico has finally started, and that will replace the main elevators at the Carlsbad Caverns. National Park Service officials began construction, excuse me, on Monday. Maybe not Monday, that week. Whatever week that was. Yeah, I'm good. Hey, safety reminder. Never wear tie around any moving piece of equipment. And I'm sure everybody knows about that. I could tell you horror stories about long hair around equipment, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, yeah, so this is going to come off as soon as if I go in the shop, this is off. Okay, next news article. Wooden escalator warped into sculpture. 5 tons of vintage wooden escalator warped into spectacular subway sculpture. This is awesome. What do you do with an old, non-compliant, non-code compliant escalator, wooden escalator? You make it into a piece of art. I think that's awesome. So way to go, Chris Fox, who's a heritage timber. The heritage timber structure is now hanging from the ceiling of the, let's see here, Inner Sydney. Where is this? Wynyard Stations for wooden escalators. I don't know where this is at, but the photographs are amazing. I should have looked this up beforehand. It's coming from newatlas.com. This also is in another article website, but it's cool. It's really neat. It's neat to see industrial elements like this of our history, especially our industry, being turned into pieces of artwork. Very cool. Okay, in Milwaukee, 2 adults, 5 children rescued from elevator at Southridge Mall. Now, you look at the photographs. I'm not going to play the video because it's going to probably pre-roll an ad. First image here, you'll see, which kind of looks like a terrifying situation. You've got the firefighters, okay, and those of you listening to the show and they can't see the image, you've got the firefighters with one of those compression bags that opens and lifts things. It's in between doors, and then you've got this little kid that's basically, climbing out, which looks kind of scary. What I don't really understand, Milwaukee's a pretty metropolitan area. You wonder why elevator mechanics were not on site or not there. So apparently they were in there for how long? I'm not really sure. 20 minutes. But yeah, doors didn't open. Remember, the best place for you to be when the elevator does not continue to work and the doors do not open is in the elevator itself. So it's okay. It's a good place to be. Think of it as like a clubhouse. But nobody was hurt or anything, but it's still kind of scary. It's scary because I just hope proper safety steps were taken to ensure the elevator was locked out, all that stuff, because who knows, based on the photos, it's just kind of scary, but everybody's okay. Thank goodness. But that's a question the news service would probably ask is why the elevator company wasn't on site or why they weren't called or whatnot. So, and I don't know if that's a financial thing, a financial decision or what. Okay, next news article, hidden treasures found in Wyoming Capitol. I've been a part of a couple of jobs where, and I think we show some of them in our catalog, where buildings under restoration have walls and ceilings and facades torn down to try to preserve some of the history. And behind those walls can be something amazing. In this case, this is the Wyoming Capitol. And take a look at the photos. It's It's just really cool to see some of them, one of which were elevator panels that are brass. And I don't think, when you look at them, I've only seen them in like black and white photographs, these types of elevators from when this building was built. But it's just amazing. And I truly hope that historic preservation is, is the number one priority of maintaining the history of the building and bringing it back to its former glory. I mean, there's hinges behind walls, a door that was walled over. It's really cool, and this happens probably more often than not. You can also see another photo here that has the brickwork with the columns and the molding. Maybe that's wallpaper. Old posters behind the wall, more doors. It's really cool. I like this stuff. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's just cool to know that while one day, this building, it was hermetically sealed to some extent, with all this cool stuff. So I truly hope they save as much as they possibly can for the art of history preservation. And it's probably one of those deals where they weren't envisioning these kinds of issues, but still cool. I'm glad they wrote a post about it and shared it online, for the world to see, and hopefully historical preservationists will take steps to ensure that the building is restored to as close to its original glory as possible without costing taxpayers billions and billions of dollars. But they might. Come on, go back. I seem to be stuck on something on my web browser. Okay, nope, doesn't want to do anything. All I did was scroll down the page, right? Yeah, no, it's going. All right, we're just gonna have to go back. Sorry about that. Okay. Try this again. We will try this again. Sometimes that happens. There you go. Everything seems to be going a little bit slower today. I'm not quite sure, but it is. Okay, here we go. 10 hours later. Okay, next news article. Okay, if you're tired of winter already, winter is officially upon us. And if the 2 days of cold weather is not up to par, make sure you think about getting some continuing education credits in warmer temperatures. February there's some in Phoenix. NACE International is offering, and also throughout the country. So as you look to escape winter, look to do so and get some educational credits at the same time. Unfortunately, December 9th one is full in Florida, but NACE is your number one source when it comes to your QEI credits and educational QEI certifications. So just remember that. Next news article, do not sit on escalator handrails. And I wish, articles like this, instead of just reporting the facts, would report a little bit more, but they don't. Channel 7 News Boston, Foxwoods Casino patron sat on escalator rail before fall. Yeah. I mean, do we have to put do we have to put those signs with the circle and the with the angle in it that says, with somebody's ass that says do not sit on an escalator, or what do we have to do here? What do we have to do to prevent people like this from doing this? I mean, maybe it's an alcohol related thing. I don't know, but don't you remember ever having your mom or dad tell you something not to do something, and then it sticking with you so deeply that it basically make you shook when you thought about it again, or you thought about it with your kids? I just don't understand how something like this can't be on that same level. But I don't know, maybe we need to be more graphical. Okay, New York City hotels each have something special to offer. There's it's kind of a neat piece talking about some of the specialness of these different hotels, one of which has references the Beekman Hotel, which just opened last year, as the best, one of the best historic restorations. I'm so sorry. Which is neat, and there's other things there too as well. But check it out. Link is in the show notes. If you're looking for a place to stay in New York, I'm sure none of these places are inexpensive whatsoever. But if you're there, it might be worthy of you checking out. Okay, hey, how many of you out there, I'm sure everybody who I'm referring to knows I'm talking about, or everybody in the industry, I should say, keeps getting these emails. Hey, you want to buy the next Global Observation Elevator Market Research Report? And then it basically lists the top 5 or 8 or 10 companies, which are the majors or whatever, and then lists a bunch of manufacturers and, provides some kind of outlook for the next 5 years. And this is from 2017 to 2022. And for the low price of, $5,000, it can be yours. Actually, it's probably less than that. But anyway, you get the point. Yeah, this comes out every once in a while. But I always wonder where this, where this information comes from. I mean, how it's compiled. And if it's close or if it's not, and I imagine they work pretty hard. I guess those that put it together to create it. But I always wonder, I'm like, and who does it really benefit? Is somebody, maybe it's a salesman benefiting, knowing that they're presenting to their companies, going, okay, this is what's out there. This is what we're going to try to go after. I don't know. But you get it every 5 years or so. Okay, in Mississippi, almost 6 weeks now, the elevator at the Lauderdale County Courthouse has been out of service, causing some concerns. If you watch the video, you got to commend the courthouse for taking the extra steps to ensure that those that are there for court or need to attend a hearing are being accommodated by not having to travel upstairs because they cannot to get to the court. They're moving courtrooms down to the first floor, or they're moving them to the across the street, which is great. That's what you want to hear. And as far as walking upstairs and downstairs, I think that's great exercise. I think it's not a bad deal. But anybody who designs an elevator and realizes it's an old elevator, anyone who designs an elevator with one, or a building with one elevator in it, should be shot. That's all I can say. And maybe there's another one here. I don't know, but obviously with freight usage, if it is a freight car, if there is one at all, I doubt it should not be used for passengers. So hopefully they work out the issues on that soon. Royal Caribbean testing intelligent elevator. I don't know what an intelligent elevator is. I've never seen a stupid one either. So it's just a press release. Oh, it's a destination dispatch elevator. That's what it is. Okay, so there you go. Check it out. Link is in the show notes. Been on one cruise in my life. Enjoyed it very much. Maybe someday I can go on another one when I get a little more time on my hands and a little bit more money after my kids are get through college. Okay, all right, enough of that. Worker injured in fall down shaft. More on the story. Okay, we talked about this last week, and I did receive some information on this gentleman or this person, and this is all alleged. So this is just information that through the grapevine that the person that was injured late at night was actually there, perhaps or allegedly taking stuff off the job site, and it wasn't an elevator guy. It was labor. So they don't report on that kind of stuff. So. Hey, all I can say is what goes around comes around, right? I think that's probably the best thing to say. So, and unfortunately, it's probably not something that has happens very often. This next article kind of bothers me because this is in Houston, Texas. Child falling down.
Your record of flooding around places like Huffmeister Road, Eldridge Parkway, Grant Road.
So sorry about that. Okay, so the title of this is coming from ABC 13 News. Child falling down escalator at Galleria Mall prompts shooting scare. Okay, so if you think, and I understand the severity of this, okay, let me just read this real quick. Shoppers at the Galleria Mall Monday thought they heard gunshots, but it turned out to be a false alarm. According to police, the noises shoppers heard stemmed from a child falling down an escalator. Authorities say a mother placed her child's stroller on the upstairs escalator, and the child fell out of the stroller and down the escalator. The mother screamed, and many shoppers panicked. How do screams relate to gunshots? And two, why don't you talk a little bit about maybe not putting your child in a stroller on an escalator? That's a pretty important thing to cover, right? Wouldn't you think? Yeah. Speechless on that. I don't know. So that's about it. I guess that's all I have to say today. All right. As always, be safe. Don't wear ties around anything that moves at all, or else it will kill you. It'll strangle you. It'll strangle you beyond asphyxiation. Okay? Don't do this, which I will not. Make sure you're practicing safety every day, and looking forward to seeing many of you tonight at the CEA holiday party. So remember, do not drink and drive. Be safe. Your families are the most important things you want to get back to, and everything can wait. And that's about it. So, all right, we'll be back next week. Stay warm, everybody. Think warm thoughts, and be safe. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.